Yo, what's up? I'm the Kaiju no Kami, and today I'm going to. Why are you looking at me like that? Is it because I look to be like a statue? Oh, my bad. I'll get the real Kaiju no Kami. Couldn't resist since I haven't been able to use this guy in any videos recently since I haven't done any news reports in like the last long months. Mostly because I've been doing those live stream Q&As where I've been doing news reports in them, and I'm probably going to just go to doing live stream news reports sometime next year since it's easier to deal with than recording a news report, than editing it and all that stuff, whatever. If I mess up, I mess up and all that jazz. But yeah, so I felt like I'd just use him for this end of year video, which is going to be about, well, normally I would review, like do my top 10 favorite movies of the year and top 10 least favorite movies of the year. This is 2020 though, and that's not going to happen. I only saw 17 movies this year. There's still a few that came out that I want to see, like Tenet, which for some reason is not on HBO Max. There was another like comedy horror movie that came out right when COVID really hit hard that had this scene where this guy's like doing the satanic ritual or something, and his wife yells, "Dinner's ready," and he yells, and it's in the trailer. He just says, "I'll be there in a minute," and she just screams, "Yo, come up here now!" I want to see that movie. I don't remember what it's called though, so yeah. And maybe it didn't actually make it out to theaters. I don't know. So, whatever the case, I'm going to go over my top 17 least favorite or not least favorite. Wow, I just said I'm not doing least favorite. I'm doing my movie rankings of 2020 from worst to best. Now, obviously, you probably may have been able to just see that list if you pause and zoom in and stuff, but whatever the case, I'll talk a little bit about the movie or not, or we'll see. This video will be however long it takes, whatever. I'm just doing this quick, not to do any editing, so you might hear me mess up a lot. So if you're not the person type who wants to hear pauses and mess ups, then this probably isn't the video for you. But I'm just going to do this in like the traditional sense that a lot of other people do videos as. So number 17, the worst movie of the year, which I called it back in January when I saw it, and that was The Grudge. This movie was an utter bore fest. Nothing happened the entire time. Ugh. Actually, a lot of the movies in this upper half were utter bore fest. Like number 16, The Turning. Oh my god. I thought The Lodge was bad. The Turning was like, hey, let's just take what's bad about The Lodge and make it worse. Oh, that was like 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. Number 15, Bloodshot. If you want to see how, or let me re-say that. If you were missing wow, now I can't even speak. But if you were missing comic book movies from the 1990s and how bad they were, Bloodshot is the movie for you. My god. This movie feels like it came out of the late 90s, early 2000s, like the Elektra or Steel type of era for comic book movies. Not a good thing. It didn't make sense from a narrative point of view. It didn't do anything, really. Vin Diesel was just Vin Diesel playing a dude named Deadshot. Or Bloodshot, I mean, not Deadshot. Deadshot's DC. Bloodshot's this one. So overall, it was just a garbage movie. 14 on my list is The Lodge. I don't know how The Lodge is better than Bloodshot, but I kind of enjoyed some aspects of The Lodge compared to Bloodshot. The Lodge showed what entitlement can really do to people when people are really, really entitled to the extreme. After that, at number 13 is Fantasy Island. This movie was very plain, very plain, very plain. Oh, there were some good ideas in it, except it completely misses the mark of the original TV series. I'm just so sick of them taking these non-horror-esque plots and just deciding, hey, we want to do something grim dark with it. Let's turn it into a horror movie. And that's what they do with it. They turn it into a horror movie. There were still some interesting ideas in Fantasy Island, though, that I did like, which is why it's not as bad as The Lodge, Bloodshot, The Turning, and The Grudge. I wasn't downright bored with it, so there's that. Although I guess that means maybe it should have been number 12, because number 12 is Wonder Woman 84, and oh my god. How do you make a movie, a comic book movie at that? So damn boring. It's like when they pieced all of Wonder Woman together into one 2.5 hour movie, they didn't bother editing it because the pacing was bad. It took like 2 hours for something to actually happen. The actors, except for Gal Gadot, clearly didn't care about what they were doing. Both Kristen Wiig and Pedro Pascal were completely miscast in this. Pedro Pascal played the worst iteration of Maxwell Lord I have ever seen on screen. Granted, he's not really been that much on screen, but still. It's like they're trying to make him be this Trump character, but not Trump, and I don't know. It just... There was no consequences for his actions. Then we have... Yeah, Kristen Wiig plays Cheetah, who is basically the same comic book trope they've been doing with Riddler in Batman Forever, Selena Kyle in Batman Returns, Poison Ivy in Batman and Robin, Jamie Foxx for Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2, not Killmonger, what was his name? Guy Pearce's character in Iron Man 3. It's like, what is with this trope of having these really recluse, nerdy characters that are losers? Just... that trope needs to stop. It needs to stop. And then we have the whole thing with Steve Trevor, which was a horrible subplot. Chris Pine seemed like he didn't even want to be in this movie. It seemed like he was just as confused as like, why am I back in this thing? I don't belong here. I'm dead. This makes no sense. So he half-assed it. So, yeah. We had this 2.5 hour bore fest that really could have used some editing. You could have taken off 40 minutes out of this movie. There were so many shots. It was just like, there's a scene when she's like flying through the air and it goes on forever, it feels like, because it just doesn't end. It just keeps going. You're like, come on, can we get to the point already? And then you have the glorified toy commercial for Goldar's armor. I mean, the Hawkgirl cosplay. I mean, whatever that was. Anyway, after that, number 11, New Mutants. Another bore fest, but it was at least an hour shorter. Yeah, it was an hour shorter than Wonder Woman, so that is why it's better than Wonder Woman. Plus, the casting was actually really good. I really liked the casting. They felt like they were embodying the actual characters from the New Mutants comic, even though Taylor-Joy completely broke her accent a few times, but for the most part, she did a solid job as Magic, and I think if this movie had actual good direction and good script writing, I think all of them would have actually turned out a really solid performance. Granted, it doesn't really take away from, like I said, it was boring for the first, 75 minutes. However, it still had some redeeming qualities to it that made it worth where I didn't go, I wish I hadn't wasted my time with that. I'm like, well, it wasn't very good. It was kind of boring. But I don't feel like I absolutely hated it. There were aspects that were legitimately good. Except for the CW, like, sex scenes, or makeout scenes, or whatever it is. That was kind of weird. Number 10, Gretel and Hansel. This one got a lot of praise earlier in the year when it came out. When we watched it, it wasn't bad or anything. There were legitimate scenes of creepiness in it, which was cool, but the movie just got way too far up its own ass for its own good. And in the long run, it ultimately hurt the film because it felt like they ran out of ideas of how to end the movie, so they just ended it with whatever half-assed method they could think up at that time at that place in time. After that comes Underwater, which was actually kind of a surprise for me because I hate Kristen Stewart. I think she's a terrible actress, but I didn't hate this movie as much as I thought I would. In fact, it was kind of a cool Lovecraftian style movie without the madness. The Lovecraftian style creatures were pretty cool. There was a lot of good ideas in here. It had legitimate moments of suspense, which was nice. Overall, it was a fun time. It's worth a one-time watch. After that comes number 8, Color Out of Space. Back at the beginning of the year, I wasn't totally sold on it. I'm still not totally sold on it. I think Nicolas Cage hams it up a little too much. There's things I don't like that they didn't do in the book. But overall, it wasn't a bad movie. I was glad to have seen it. I definitely think it's worth watching. So, it's not a bad adaptation. I mean, it's not a great adaptation. I've seen better, but I've also seen much, much worse from Lovecraft adaptations. Number 7, another movie I was kind of surprised at, Scoob. I had a lot of fun with this. It was stupid, it was cliche, but it was fun. It was hilarious. They just did a really good job on this Scooby-Doo movie and making it actually be funny. And they had Falcon Jr., it was Blue Falcon Jr., was really well done. I liked that. I liked how there were a lot of Hanna-Barbera characters. I don't think all the voices worked. Like, I don't feel like, what's his name? Tracy Morgan was a good Captain Caveman. I don't feel like he fit, but overall, I highly enjoyed the movie. It isn't great. Like, don't go in expecting it to be the greatest thing ever. Just go in wanting to get some good laughs and have a good time, and you'll definitely get that with this one. Pleasantly surprised. Number 6 is Onward. This was like the last movie we saw in theaters before everything hit the fan, because Krillika and I saw it on our anniversary, and it was a good movie. It's kind of like Brave, as in it's good, it's enjoyable, but it's not really a Pixar movie I need to go out and see again. I'm glad I saw it, especially I'm glad I saw it in theaters. It made for a good final movie to see in theaters for the year, but it's not exactly stellar cinema or anything. Number 5, Mulan. I don't get the hate for this one. Maybe it's because I've never seen the anime one, so I don't have the biasness of the anime movie, which I think is a disservice anyway if you're just going to grade a movie based on how it compares to the original. Because there are tons of remakes out there that suck without being compared to the original. So I'm glad I saw this without having any bias to it, and I loved it. It's not perfect. There are some pacing issues. I actually feel like the movie was 20 to 30 minutes too short. I feel like there was a lot more that could have been told in it. But for what it was, I thought the actress did a pretty good job as Mulan. I thought the fight choreography was really well done. The camera work was pretty good. I mean, okay, if you're going to compare it to other martial arts films like Versus or Azumi, some of Kurosawa's stuff, then yeah, okay, then the camera work is not going to be as good. Like The Returner. Of course the camera work's not going to be as good as those, but I didn't go in expecting the camera work to be a full-on martial arts movie. I just wanted an enjoyable, good movie that's action-packed and has good characters, and I got that. I liked that they did stuff with the villain, even though it felt like they dropped developing the villain about a little bit after the halfway point, and I felt there was a little bit more they could have done. I liked the villain. He was much certainly better than Jafar. I liked the witch that was in it. So overall, I thought it was a really good time. I enjoyed myself with it. Like I said, I don't get the hate. I really don't. After that comes Birds of Prey at number 4. Again, another one that people seem to downright hate. I had a lot of fun with it. It felt like a comic book movie to me. It was the first DC comic book movie that felt like it actually knew it was a comic book in a long time. And I liked that. I thought Ian McGregor was phenomenal as Black Mask. He is, without a doubt, DC's best live-action villain to date. At least as far as I'm thinking of right now. Yeah, Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger are both incredible. However, I think Black Mask captured the insanity bit a little bit more, but you never know. That could change. That's my opinion right now. I really liked Birds of Prey. I thought it was well done. Again, fun, enjoyable, colorful, comic booky. Just what I want out of a comic book movie. I don't need every comic book movie to be grim, dark, serious, super depressing. It's supposed to be fun and colorful. That's why they're comic books. Number 3, and this was one of the two surprises for me, Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh yeah, that would be the greatest video game movie ever made. Not Silent Hill. Silent Hill was my favorite video game movie ever made, but Sonic the Hedgehog I think would be number 1. Sonic the Hedgehog was another one. It showed that the people who made it actually cared. They made a good movie. They changed Sonic's design for the better. And it was just a fun time overall. Jim Carrey really stole the movie because he was so good. I have not seen Jim Carrey have that much fun in years doing a role. It was just a great movie overall. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. It's got comedy, it's got drama, it's got good action, it's just a good movie all around. Number 2 was one that I kind of blind bought, kind of scared. I actually had no interest in seeing it in theaters when it came out because it looked like it was just going to be this social commentary on abuse, and it ended up being super good, which was The Invisible Man. In fact, until just now, this was my favorite movie of the year. The Invisible Man did the social commentary aspect I thought it would do, but it did it effectively well, and it was well written around it. It wasn't just the whole point of the movie was this social commentary. It was part of the movie. It's like they wrote a movie and had the social commentary be part of it. Not like these days where they write a lot of social commentaries and then they make a movie around the commentary. It was a really well done movie, had lots of suspense, lots of tension. You're there like, okay, whoa, is he in the room with her or not? Is he there? Is he not there? Is she actually talking to herself, or is he standing there like she thinks he is? A lot of great stuff, and the ending was like, wow, okay, that is an ending that works because it makes sense on why that would happen. And it makes you go, damn, I can't wait to see what they do with this if they want to proceed further. On the other hand, I'm kind of worried if they do proceed further, what they're going to do to screw it up. But it shows that Universal can still make a horror movie. It doesn't take rocket science. Why didn't you start your, dark universe with this one? Do something standalone, horror movie-ish. It didn't need to have, 5 different movies crammed into it to be good. It was just a good, nice, standalone film. The best horror movie of 2020. And, again, until the other day, it was my favorite movie of 2020. So good on ya. Keep that going, Universal. Now do Dracula and Frankenstein and Creature from the Black Lagoon and Wolfman like that. Get those people to do a brand new monster world. And it doesn't even have to be a monster universe. Just do that. Just do standalone films like that, and you'll be golden. So nice job, Universal. And number 1. My favorite movie of the year, which I was expecting to be really good. I just didn't expect it to be that damn good. And that is Soul. Man, I really wish we could have seen this movie in theaters. It is so freaking amazing. It looks beautiful. The music is so damn good. You could say the music has soul to it. Like when they're in the real world, it's kind of this jazzy type soundtrack. Then when they're in the spirit world, it's this industrial techno sounding thing, which makes sense because Trent Reznor did the soundtrack. So that is an awesome bonus on that aspect. It was just a really, really good movie. It's got a lot of dark humor in it. Like there's one scene, there's one scene character, this little cutesy soul's says in the most cutest voice possible, I'm an intense megalomaniac with high optimism, with high optimism. And it was just so hilarious the way she talked in this entire speech, and all the humor was so well done. It was a movie that I gave a 10 out of 10 for. It was just damn freaking good. Easily the best movie of 2020. So, what are your top movies of 2020, or what are the movies you ranked this year if you've only seen a couple? Let me know in the comments. Click like, subscribe, the bell notification, whatever else YouTube has you clicking in to support me. You can support me on Patreon, Kaiju no Kami, Facebook, Kaiju no Kami, Twitter, Kaiju no Kami, Instagram, Kaiju no Kami, and my website, creativitybydesignllc.com. Until next time, bye.